Interesting business. We're going to turn the light right on top of you.
That would be perfect. I've been cold all day, so if that...
It's still cold in here.
We got here before it got real cold.
But I learned, everybody needs to know that if you stand and talk in front of the doors stay open. until
Oh,
you
yeah.
fall
Oh,
out
yeah.
the way.
That you got the
So
outside
don't
door.
talk in front of the doors.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is Dr. Jill Stearns, and I'll start with the first question. Dr. Stearns, explain how you see the role of interim chancellor.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I see the role of interim chancellor as the one tasked with staying the course, maintaining the vision for the district, providing consistent leadership, and ensuring that all of the regular routine tasks around reporting, compliance, in our current case, accreditation, are being maintained even while the search for a permanent CEO is underway for the district.
We have, as you know, accreditation site visits in fall 2017 at both colleges.
So you know.
And tell us about your experience with accreditation and what you would do as chancellor to lead the charge.
Thank you. So as you may recall, when I came into Modesto Junior College in 2012, one of the very pressing issues at the institution was that the college had been placed on a sanction of probation for the second time following a comprehensive external evaluation visit. We had significant challenges in terms of the major recommendations were around changing systems and processes that required work and also required practicing what you built and said you were going to do, and then reporting on evaluation of how those new processes worked. We were successful in having our accreditation status restored to fully accredited, and we are well on our way at Modesto Junior College to having a draft of the institutional self-evaluation report ready to go out for broad campus input. I have served as an accreditation liaison officer who is in the capacity of being the primary liaison with the Accreditation Commission. I have many years of experience in that role, including a self-evaluation and a comprehensive visit that resulted in a clean accreditation result and a full accreditation outcome. I have also been an ALO where coming into the role where the college had just been placed on the sanction of warning, and we were able to meet those recommendations in a short amount of time and be restored to accredited status in 1 year. I have served on 8 external evaluation teams. I have served as the chair of an external evaluation team, and I have served as the lead chair for an external evaluation team at a multi-college district. I have also recently served as a lead for a PRT. It's the Partnership Resource Team under the new institutional effectiveness framework that the state has been providing. And really what's intended with the PRTs is that a small team of college experts go into a colleague college and assist them with matters that are around institutional effectiveness and around meeting the accreditation standards, and outside of the accreditation process provide assistance. I have recently, over the last year, led the team that worked with Laney College under the PRT.
Share your understanding of the president's relationship with the chancellor and differentiate between the responsibilities of the president and the chancellor.
So the president's relationship with the chancellor formally is one of reporting, and the presidents have responsibility to that individual as well as responsibility for their college campus and all that entails. In working with Chancellor Smith, this has been an incredibly positive relationship where she made it very clear that Modesto Junior College was my responsibility, and yet she was there anytime for advisement, for consultation, and for just having an exchange of ideas. I think that that is a very productive type of relationship to have. I also received feedback from her in the form of formal evaluation and informally. The responsibility of the Chancellor really lies with the Board of Trustees and maintaining that relationship, keeping the board apprised of what is coming and what is new. And we are in an unprecedented era of change. It is almost unreal some days, the volume of change that we receive from the different divisions at the state chancellor's office. And so maintaining awareness of the board of the changes that are coming, maintaining awareness with the board of things that are happening at the colleges, being that conduit. The Chancellor certainly has a very direct reporting relationship with the Board of Trustees, and that is where their primary responsibility lies. And in doing so, they hold the vision for the district. They are the one ultimately where everything, all of that responsibility lies.
Share your experience in working with an elected board, and then how would you orient a new board? What is most critical?
So my experience in working with an elected board started with my first district level position, which was in 2004, and I served as a district director of financial aid and managed the financial aid offices at 2 colleges and a center, and reported directly to the Chancellor in that scenario. What was interesting and challenging there is we were in the midst of transitioning the district from a fully paper process to a fully online process, and the board had strong interest in that. And so I made multiple presentations over the course of the year that we were able to enact that transition. And so that was the first opportunity that I really had to formally engage with and present to the Board of Trustees and maintain communication with them as we underwent a major project at all 3 of the sites. Since that time, I have had opportunity to make presentations to the Board of Trustees from the variety of roles that I have held. So as a dean, as a vice president, and then once I came to the Yosemite Community College District, I have had the privilege of having a closer working relationship with the Board of Trustees. I still report to the Chancellor, but Chancellor Smith has provided lots of opportunity for me to interact directly with the Board of Trustees. I sit in on most of closed session meetings. I provide a letter to the Board of Trustees every month, and through Chancellor Smith and directly keep the trustees apprised of things that are happening at the college on a regular and ongoing basis.
And then how would you orient a new board, and what is most critical?
Having never been the Chancellor in working directly, having the responsibility of working directly with the board as my primary role, I believe it would be beneficial to bring in an expert and someone who would work with the experienced trustees, new trustees, and me as a new Chancellor in an interim role to develop a shared understanding of what that relationship would look like, what the role and responsibilities of the board are beyond what's found in our existing board policy, so that as we start to work together, it would be with some common terminology and some common understanding of what expectations are in both directions. What is most critical, I think, is is really shared expectations, and that there would be clear understanding in both directions around matters such as communication, and what would that look like, and what would the preference of the board be in terms of frequency of contact and meetings, but just really starting to build what is going to be beneficial to a new board in terms of a relationship and communication strategy with the interim chancellor.
Please provide examples of initiatives you developed or directly participated in that support student success.
This has been really incredible and exciting work at Modesto Junior College. Having the resources come to the college through SSSP and through the student equity plans has been challenging, but it has opened a whole new opportunity to think about and redesign how we serve students beyond our classrooms. And very significant in terms of what has transpired at MJC has been the addition of our success specialists and those new support professionals that really have the primary role of working with individuals who desire to become a student through the intake process and all the way through their first year to help them be strongly connected to the MJC campus and prepare them well, not only for what happens academically, but to help them to understand what it is to be part of an educational community and to be engaged with what is happening across the campus. So that's one of the very exciting things that we have been able to work on towards student success. Another just very, very critical piece has been our opportunity to have real-time data about who our students are. And we've been using the framework of Achieving the Dream to help us in these conversations. And it's more than just looking at our college demographics and knowing which groups are represented there, which groups are successful and which ones are struggling, but it's even being able to look at the course and the section level to really know who is it in the classroom. And in conversation, as a matter of fact, I just left one, we just had coffee and conversation in Yosemite Hall. And a faculty member reflected to me that the image that they have in their mind when they think of who our student is has changed because of the opportunity to dive deep into the data and have reflected back who it is that is here. And their comment was fun because they said, they're older than I thought they were. And it is, we serve a non-traditional student, but to hear that reflected back as an outcome of the opportunity to be deep into our data really brings a different level of understanding, and it opens the door for us to support students in a whole nother way.
What is your understanding of participatory governance?
Participatory governance is the world we practice every day. It's the opportunity to have representatives of all of our constituent groups engaged in the conversations that lead toward decision making. And specifically in Title V, there are special roles spelled out for faculty as they are for staff and for students. But I tend to operate in a much more inclusive way and invite the voices in all levels of conversation, and hearing those diverse perspectives really is important in terms of decision making for our college, in priority setting for the college, and in understanding what's happening at every level of student experience.
Please give examples of your experience in fiscal management, FTES generation, and enrollment management.
So my experience in fiscal management really grew greatly when we first saw the reductions that started in 2010. And I was serving as the vice president of instruction at a small college. We did not have a VP of administrative services. We did not have a director of business services. And by default, that became one of the hats that I wore for the college, because our budget truly was instruction. And when it was time for us to hit our reduced budget target for the coming year, we had some very, very difficult decisions to make. And we, as an executive team in that institution, said our priority is we save jobs. And we're going to do whatever it took to maintain jobs. And we were able to make the reductions that next year. It was uncomfortable. And we used that same process over the next 3 years as we did our budget development, and maintaining that focus on our priority is our people. And there are some negative outcomes with that approach as well, because when you have someone leave, even if it's in a critical role, sometimes you're unable to fill behind them, and that work starts to look different across the college. But that was where I first had experience in really understanding every facet of the budget and how the college budget intersected with the district budget, and understanding all of the facets of what was the central services and how they fit with what we were doing at the college, and how those decisions that we were making at the college level had an impact across the district. When I arrived at Modesto Junior College, you had very much the same sort of fiscal challenge and had to reduce budgets, and very much the reality of the impact that has on the campus is long-standing, and it is still felt today. And we still don't have much wiggle room in our budget at MJC. So keeping an eye on the budget and budget development is a critical part of the role that I play. For 9 months, as I was president, we did not have a VP at MJC, and so I wore that hat as well. And I'll tell you, it's a huge relief to have someone else who is processing all of those purchase requests. But I still maintain a close eye on the budget, and watching and seeing where we are in the year, where our spending is at for the year, and keeping a close eye on what's transpiring at MJC, knowing very well that that has an impact on central services and even Columbia College as our budgets intersect to make the district budget. In terms of FTES, I have had significant responsibility for FTES generation and hitting targets for many, many years. And I've been at the small college in a district, and that small college was expected to stay the small college, and the other college was expected to grow tremendously. And I fought very hard to make that not happen, and made some people pretty unhappy with the creative and successful programs that we were able to institute to keep that small college viable. And when we were supposed to actually be reducing so that our sister college could grow, we actually grew. And it was significant growth. We gained about 400 FTES and went from 2,100 to 2,500 in a short amount of time. And when you are isolated and rural, that can be a very, very significant challenge. We were able to do an adult education model where we offered courses every 6 weeks and one course right after another in locations at high schools, at prisons, serving not the inmates but the staff, hospitals, and had great response to that new model that we called Start Here, Start Now, because every 6 weeks you could jump into the program and have an opportunity to start right away on a degree. We are working hard at MJC to align our schedule with our student need and our student demand. And that is a difficult transition for a college because we don't have the opportunity to just reassign folks from one discipline to another. It would be very easy to fix an FTES shortfall overnight if we could just reassign people from one area to another. But that's not the reality. We rely on subject matter experts, and it is only over years that you can grow capacity in one area, maybe perhaps while another shrinks, or just to change the mix of offerings across a college. So we have been working on that at MJC. We still struggle strongly. We simply do not have the capacity to meet student demand in science and in mathematics. And our challenge is compounded because across the valley, it's a shared issue. And so when we talk to Merced and we talk to San Joaquin Delta and we talk to Fresno and we talk to Porterville, everyone's facing the same challenge of finding highly qualified faculty in the STEM areas. So we still have work to do at MJC to really align our schedule with student demand. And it takes time to have the hires shift to be able to fill those gaps and meet student need. That's really around enrollment management as well. Enrollment management is making sure that our schedule does meet the needs of students. We really are looking hard at ways that we can assist a student to get the courses they need to be done in a short amount of time. The national statistics are heartbreaking in terms of how long it takes a community college student to complete, and ours are no different. And so looking at how do we offer courses in a way that allows students to complete in a short amount of time. And there's still opportunity for improvement there, and we're working hard to make that happen. So that's some of the exciting things that we see happening.
Describe a situation where you were faced with a significant challenge and your leadership helped achieve a successful outcome.
I feel like this is every day. Some challenges are bigger than others, and some days it's just really the small things where you can find a win and go, yes, that worked, it was great. We have had and do have a variety of significant challenges in the community college. And trying to think about what really makes the most sense here. And I think what I want to talk about is the work that we're doing with our Title V grant right now around removing barriers. It's really easy for us who are familiar here to say, oh, it's on West Campus. And the reality is that doesn't necessarily make any sense to a student. It doesn't make sense to Google, who doesn't know we have a West Campus and will always direct you to MJC East. So part of what we are doing is using that grant to make sure that we have mirrored services for students on both campuses. We had a particular instance where